Hey guys, it's time for Tuesday Talks. Thanks for being here. Sometimes I feel like I want to do that Mr. Rogers thing. A lot of you on here will probably know what I'm talking about. When he came in the door and he took off his outside sweater and put on his home sweater. I loved that as a kid. What was it about that? That's so there's just something so comforting about that. And he was singing while he did it, and you were just starting to relax and I don't know, just I feel like I want to do that when I come in, into Tuesday Talks. Is just sing my way in. Maybe I should write myself a little thing. I am a musician. Maybe I should write myself a little thing. Anyways, glad you're here. You're here because maybe you read the title about scale fluctuations. Dun, dun, dun. The when, the why, the where, the how. Okay, all of this stuff. We let our emotions get so tied to those darn scale fluctuations, and I'm hoping that you will go away from today with a little bit of scientific, actual, logical knowledge that will help you deal with the emotion that comes tied to the scale, right? I don't know why that number on there affects us so much, but I think one of the biggest things to remember is our bodies are moving, living, changing things. There are so many different things that affect how our body is, what it's doing, our organs and our blood and everything, that it's just not normal to expect our body weight to stay the same all the time. There's so many different things going. If you ever started to study science and nutrition and everything behind it, I guess that's why I nerd out on it. I think it's just so fascinating how our body is taking things and storing things and using them and saving them, all this stuff, okay? So let's start out with why and how, right? Why is the scale fluctuating? How does the scale, what causes it to go up and down? What can cause it to go up and down so much, okay? So I'm just gonna name a few. You guys, there's so many different reasons, but some of the more obvious reasons that you probably might already be aware of. That time of the month, your cycle, right? Your body is retaining more fluid. All these changes are happening in your hormones, the drop in estrogens, or the rise in progesterone, all these different things are happening to fluctuate what's happening there. You ate more sodium the night before. That's a huge thing. Your body is just holding on to water, right? You didn't sleep very well. That can affect your weight. You ate a really high carb meal. That could affect your weight too. Let's actually stop for a minute on that one and talk about how does higher carbs affect your weight? Because everybody thinks, oh, my weight went up, carbs make me fat, right? Okay, this is really important, you guys, because there's so many women that still believe that carbs make them fat. Carbs can make the scale go up the next day, absolutely. It's not fat, it's water, okay? So let's break this down. Nerd out with me and be scientific for a minute, okay? When we eat carbs, that's glucose. Our body either uses some of it for energy right away. It goes, cool, yay, carbs. And then it stores some for later, mostly in our muscles and our liver. And it turns into what we call glycogen, okay? So now that's stored. Now, glycogen is something that really pulls water molecules together. So in your muscles, there's more glycogen going on and it's storing more water inside your muscles. Okay, so this is actually going to give you, there's my mail lady. That feels like Mr. Rogers. Ooh, doesn't he have a mail person that comes? Oh my gosh, I'm getting distracted. Okay, so obviously when you have more water inside your muscles, they're actually gonna look more pumped up because it's plumping the muscle up. Okay, that's why some people who are really into bodybuilding and into bodybuilding shows and muscles and everything, the day before they actually eat a ton of carbs, because then the glycogen goes into their muscles and stores there and pulls all this water in, and it pumps their muscles up and makes them look even bigger. Okay, so, but that is water weight. That is not fat. And that is something that you take a day where you don't eat as many carbs and you drink a lot of water, and boom, it all goes away, if that's what your goal is, right? If you're someone that's that's good, I actually want to build muscle, I actually want more muscle on my body for the million different reasons why it's good to have more muscle in your body, then you eat the carbs and you understand that it can cause the scale to go up a little bit. I have two stories for you. One of them, last week was just a very stressful week for a lot of many different reasons. And my eating just wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. I wasn't like eating everything in sight, but I was grabbing things that were more simple. I was out more. I was just naturally eating more carbs. I actually was kind of having trouble. I wasn't that hungry. And so I was trying to, instead of skipping eating, I was just trying to do things that just sounded really good in the moment. And usually that's something that's a little bit sweeter. So like grabbing a scone or a bagel or something like that. I don't do this all the time. This was just an unusual circumstance this week where it was like that. And again, I wasn't like crazy overdoing it. It just wasn't great. I wasn't really meeting my protein goals. It just wasn't, consistent like I usually am. And the scale was up. I actually showed a picture on Instagram today about watching how the scale was up like 2 pounds, 2.5 pounds, just because of what I just talked about. It's just more carbs than I usually have and less protein. So my body was just storing more water and glycogen in my muscles. Guess what? A couple of days later, I got right back on track. I went to my normal programming. I went to my normal protein meals, and boom, the scale just sank right back down. It was like, oh, I don't have all those glycogen stores anymore. Boom. And then it all came out. Here's another really fun story for you. My husband's grandma, I call her great grandma because she's great grandma to our kids. She is a rock star. She's 97 years old. She still lives on her own, makes all her meals, tries to walk each day, tries to do she's incredible. She's just incredible. She has dealt with like having swollen legs and ankles for a couple of years now, and it got really bad a couple of weeks ago, so bad it was painful and she had to go to the doctor. And when she went into the emergency room, they weighed her in at 136 pounds. And we're talking her legs and her feet and ankles. They're so swollen, like it hurts. They're like so big and swollen. They give her medicine to flush all that fluid out. So she starts taking it. And 7 days later, she was so cute. She's like, I've never seen my legs and ankles like this ever. They were just normal. It had flushed all that water out. She got on the scale and she was 115 pounds in 7 days. That was all water. 15 pounds of all water weight. So some of you might like get in your head, okay, yeah, Michelle's telling me it's glycogen stores, but it can't be 4 or 5 pounds of water stores. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. It totally can. And all of us are different. Genetically, we're all different. So the way our body uses it and stores it is totally different. So some people might see a bigger spike from something like that. Some people might see as much of a spike. Also, the amount of muscle on you makes a difference too, right? Because if all those stores don't have anywhere to go into your muscles, there's nowhere for it to go. So maybe you don't spike as much when you eat it. It's just all across the board can be totally different. So for some people, like for me, it was like a 2.5, 3 pound difference. For some people, it might be a 5 or 6 pound difference, right? So and I'm not talking about like you've been binging continuously and, oh, it's just water weight. I'm talking about you're just eating normal carbs and eating healthy and eating your protein, and the scale goes up and you're freaking out because you're like, what the heck? I ate a few carbs. It's going up. They make me fat. No, it doesn't. Okay. So that's kind of explaining how and why and how it can go up and down. And if, like I said, very few reasons why it can. There are so many reasons. I could sit here for 25 minutes and list all the reasons why the scale can fluctuate up and down. Okay. So what do we do about this, right? What do we do with this information? Well, first of all, it's so important to be educated. So many of my clients, when they first come to me and they don't have this education, and the first couple months, they do really struggle with their mindset of the scale fluctuations. And they have especially if they're in a fat loss phase and the scale goes up, freaking out. It's not working. And not all of them, but a lot of women end up quitting. This is when they quit because they don't have the education to know this is normal. This is totally normal for this to happen. This is not fat. It's not that it's not working. This is completely normal during your journey. So that is when most people give up and get stuck in the cycle of this yo-yo dieting, because every single time they get stuck on that little weight gain thing and then they just throw it all out the window. So be educated and understand that those types of things are normal. Yes, if you were in like a fat loss phase and the scale kept going up and up and up, yes, that would be a time where you would need to reevaluate and look and make sure that you're actually in a calorie deficit. I'm not saying it never is. So it shouldn't just keep going up. I'm talking about the normal up and downs of everyday life. And then you just want to make sure that you're understanding it and that you're not letting it rule you emotionally. Okay, so using that number on the scale as data. That's it. It's just data. Oh, it went up today. And maybe even as you're working through your mindset, you're thinking, what are some of the things Michelle said? What are some of the things that could have made it go up just normally? Did I sleep really bad last night? Yeah, actually, I haven't slept great the last couple nights. Totally normal that it's up a little bit. Were my carbs a little bit higher yesterday? Yeah, probably didn't burn off as much of that glycogen. It's probably pumped into my muscles right now. It could be water retention. So just like going through those things and knowing those things and talking yourself down from that first initial reaction that everybody has when it goes up is like, like you just get flooded with these feelings of like, it's all for nothing. I can't do this. I must give up, right? It's like that feeling just floods you and there's no logic going on. So just stop and think through it. And this is one of the reasons too why having a coach for a certain amount of time is so helpful, because that's when I get those texts from my clients and they're like, help. And I can remind them of these things. I can help talk them through it. We even sometimes get on a phone call, talk through your mindset. It's so, so important, or else all of this isn't going to stick. If you don't switch your mindset to understand that what you're seeing is just data to help you in this journey, you're going to be affected by it so much, you're not going to be able to make any progress forward. So it's really important that you adjust to that mindset to allow that to happen, so that you're understanding the process and not giving up every single time that it goes up or down, and vice versa, right? Like I remember being in a phase of life years ago where, of course, I didn't understand any of this. And I would like eat a certain way and I would weigh and the scale would be down a couple pounds for who knows, right? Like maybe just had good water that day and flushed it out, or was it during a different time in the month of my cycle, whatever, it was down. And then my mind is going, oh, whatever I did yesterday is exactly what's going to get me to lose weight. So I'm just going to keep doing that, what I was doing, because I had no idea what I was doing, right? And then the next day it's like up 3 pounds and you're just like, what is going on? Like, I thought that worked. Now it doesn't work. And you're just on this crazy cycle of not knowing what to do and not understanding why the scale moves up and down. So just get educated about, and you're listening to this, which is great, which means you're taking the steps to understand about those fluctuations and not being just reactive every time you see them, right? And every time you have to adjust something with your diet or your lifestyle or something, that should be a logical move, not a frantic, like grabbing at different things move, right? So taking steps in your health journey that you know for sure are going to help you because you're educated and knowing that, and not just grabbing at, well, maybe I'll try this, well, maybe I try that. And I don't know why the scale's going up and down. I have no idea. So hopefully that was helpful. I hope you guys can just work through. It takes time. It takes time to get your mindset to that place. I know, I've experienced it. I had to go through that too. But knowing is the first step, right? And it's the key. It's the first step. Knowledge is always the first step. So now that you know, you can start to work towards that. And if you have any type of questions that you're like, hey, Michelle, I noticed that on these days the scale goes up. Is that normal? Can you just let me know? And you want to bounce that off of me? Message me. We'll talk through it. I would love to talk through it with you, and I'll explain, yeah, just totally normal, or why that's normal, and the science and the education behind it. And then you can just, okay, good. Everything's good. So Love you guys. Thanks so much for being here. As always, I'm here to cheer you on in your health and fitness journey, and I hope you guys have a great week.